Hey everybody, this is Robot here from Vespa Motorsport here in San Diego, the premier dealership for Vespas here in the San Diego County. Here I'm on a Vespa Primavera 50, and right to my right is the Primavera 150. This happens to be the touring edition, and you probably stumbled across this video because you're wondering what the difference is between these two scooters. Maybe you narrowed it down that you do want a Primavera, and you're wondering, is the 50cc that costs nearly $1,500 less, is this appropriate for you? Or should you go up to the 150cc scooter? I'm also going to cover some of the minor differences between the two scooters. Other than the looks, they look nearly identical. Pretty much the same color ranges. Sometimes I'll have one extra color in the 50 that's not available in the 150, and vice versa. Keep in mind there's also the Sprint, which is a very similar scooter, just a different trim that looks sportier, but the same motors. So if you're curious about the performance and a test ride review, you can click the link in the left for a video that we did in conjunction with Vespa Portland. The guys up there, a pretty cool crew that has a Vespa dealership up in Portland. They sell tons of 50s because the licensing requirements are completely different state by state. California, to drive a 50cc Vespa, you need the M1 motorcycle license. That's the same license you need to drive any motorcycle that's street going. So a lot of people just choose to spend a little bit extra to get the extra speed of the 150 here in California. But I can't speak for the other states. I know states like Nevada, Colorado, and Oregon all have special laws pertaining to the 50cc scooters and Vespas. They're a slower class of scooter, but you typically can drive them with a car license. I know on the web, if you do a quick Google search, you could find some pretty nice charts that show state by state what the requirements are for the lower speed 50cc's and the standard speed 50cc's and what you need. Some states, I think Ohio, if I recall, don't take my word for it, you can even ride a lower speed 50cc, which they do make in the Primavera. It's a restricted one, doesn't exceed 30 miles an hour essentially, with like a provisional license with the lower age requirement. I'm not going to go into those details. I want to talk about the details of the scooter. So number one, the price. You wonder what the price is? The base model Primavera 50 is $3,999, so pretty much $4,000. If you move up to a base model Primavera 150, not including this touring one that has the extra accessories on it, you're at $5,349. So it's pretty much $1,450 more for the 150. Also keep in mind, state to state, the registration may be cheaper on the 50. That may be a reason why you want to go with the smaller one. Speed-wise, well, it's pretty obvious. A 50cc motor is about a third the engine size of this 150. So the top speed on this Primavera 50 is around 35. Maybe they'll hit about 45 on a downhill, no problem. Maybe on the flats, 40, somewhere in that range. Acceleration isn't all that brisk. If you're competing with, faster going traffic on a wider street, the cars are probably gonna hole shot you. If you move up to the 150, you're probably gonna hole shot the cars. It has a 0 to 30 that's much quicker than the 50cc model. Looks wise, you can see they're nearly identical. The 2020 model has the LED headlight, just like the 150. The 150 comes on once you start it. It's actually a 2019, kind of pulled the wrong bike. But if you had a 2020, it would have the LED headlight just like this model here. You have a speedometer that'll show you. It only goes up to 50 miles an hour, or 80 kilometers. And the biggest feature that they took away from the 150 going on to the 50 is the electronic seat opening. So the 150 comes with a key fob that you could pop the seat remotely, like most modern cars. If you have a 50cc model, you got to take the key and put it in the left side of the seat, and that's how you open the seat. So while both scooters have 12-inch wheels, both front and rear, if you look at the front end of the Primavera 50, They went to a smaller disc brake setup, and it does not have the anti-lock braking system on it. It's got a regular rubber hose, a opposing double piston caliper. It's plenty of braking for this size scooter, no problems there. But if you move over to the 150, you could see the brake rotor's a little bit larger. It's got the tone wheel for the ABS sensor, and it's got a double piston caliper with larger brake pads. Ironically, the same size brake pads that are found on the GTS 250, and they absolutely last forever. So obviously, being a 50cc engine, it's a completely different architecture. This 2020s has a fuel injected iGet 3-valve engine, much like the 150. In fact, it's a very similar system. Similar components are used between the two scooters, but obviously they're programmed different, being a different engine size. So this has got the 50cc, 3 valves, a fuel injected motor. It starts up really easy. You can see it's got the more simple looking, older style 50cc belt cover. Just says Piaggio on it. If you move over to the 150, you get a sharper looking belt cover. Obviously it's got larger transmission components in there. They both have the same size drum brakes in the rears, which is perfectly adequate for these scooters. No issues there. So the appearance of the muffler is pretty much identical between the 50 and 150. Obviously different inside. And moving on to the technical bits. So you pop the seat. Of course, you got the electronic seat pop mechanism. The 150, you could just see it takes up a little bit more of the engine bay. It's fuel injected engine, so it starts with ease, no problems. Runs really clean. The under seat bucket is a little bit smaller on the 150. You can see it has this hump right here for the evaporative emissions control system that's found on all the scooters sold in the United States. And if we move over to the 50, open the seat, it still has a spring-loaded mechanism on the seat, so it springs open on it. You can see the bucket is a lot larger. It will comfortably hold a full-size helmet. Comes with an extra key, owner's manual, and toolkit, much like all the Vespas do. The spot for where you could put a seat cover, that's not included with the scooter. And if you pull the bucket out, you could just see that the motor doesn't occupy as much space. But comparing the two scooters, looking at the top, they almost look identical because they use very similar fuel injection components between the two. The fuel injection is great because the prior models that had the carburetor in them, you let them sit for 3 months and it's likely not going to start with the small jets that are in the carburetor. You know, the fuel injection, I just highly recommend it with any newer scooter. It starts with ease. No problems. I didn't have to touch the throttle or give it a gas. It just starts right up. Very quiet operation. It's a little bit quieter than the 150 by a tiny bit. Same controls, turn signals, same horn. But that's pretty much sums up the differences between the 50 and the 150. Number one being the engine size and the speed. Here, you're in a 35-mile-an-hour class scooter. You move up to the 150, you're in about a 55-mile-an-hour class scooter. So I hope that helped summarize some of the differences between the 50cc Primavera and the 150cc Primavera. All these pretty much carry over to the Sprint lineup as well. So another video, if you're interested in the 50cc scooter, I would check out the drag race video that was courtesy of the guys over at Vespa Portland. They tested the fuel injected Primavera 50 from 2020 against the 2018 or 2019 Primavera that had the older carbureted engine. The fuel injected bike does have a little bit more advantage in acceleration and speed over the carbureted one, in addition to not having a carburetor you gotta clean out if you let the scooter sit. But I hope everybody liked the comparison here. I haven't really done too much on the 50. We just don't get too many of them. The next video, I'm just going to do an overview of the performance parts that are available for the latest and greatest Primavera 50 with the iGet motor. Until next time, it's Robot from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. If you're looking to purchase one of these scooters, We could ship all over the nation, or you're in San Diego or Los Angeles, we can help you out. Give us a ring, 619-280-1718, and you can talk to the sales guys, extension 604. Subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Vespa Motorsport.